All right. The Bible says in verse number 1, I'll have you guys read a few verses, but we got a long passage today, so I'm gonna read a few. The Bible says, after these things, Jesus went over the Sea of Galilee, which is the Sea of Tiberias, and a great multitude followed him, because they saw his miracles, which he did on them that were diseased. And Jesus went up into a mountain, and there he sat with his disciples. Now, verse number 5 says, when Jesus lifted up his eyes, he saw a great company come unto him. He saith unto Philip, whence shall we buy bread that these may eat? Now go down to verse number 9. Mercy, you wanted to read? Read verse number 9 for us. Lad? He's a little boy. From what we read, Jesus was teaching. The people got hungry. How many people were there? 5,000. But look at this. Look at it more closely. Verse 10. What does verse 10 say? The last part of verse 10. What's the last part of verse 10 say? Somebody in the second row. Starting at so.
The men sat down and number about 5,000.
Okay. So how many people were there?
About 5,000. There was 5,000 men.
5,000 men. Where there are 5,000 men, there are 5,000 what? Women. Where there are 5,000 men? Where there are 5,000 men and 5,000 women, what else are there?
5,000.
Probably a whole lot more than 5,000 children. Conservatively, we're talking about 20,000 people. Okay? So we're talking about a lot of people.
And all it had was 5 fish and a loaf of bread.
5 loaves and 2 fishes. So, the Bible says in verse 9, there's a lad here which hath 5 barley loaves and 2 small fishes. So basically, I mean, you're talking about barley loaves were a little cake about the size of a hockey puck. And 2 small fishes, sardine type. I mean, this is a little boy's lunch, okay? So, this little boy had his lunch. He gave it to the disciples gave it to Jesus, and the Bible says with that lunch, Jesus made that lunch feed 20,000 people. That's a lot. Now, the question this evening is this. What has God given you that you can use to help others? Okay? God has given each of you talents and abilities. God has given each of you some measure of intelligence. Sometimes I wonder how much, but God has given each of you some measure of intelligence. Okay? And He's given you those things so that you can be a help and be a benefit to this world. Let me ask you this question. What good are you if you spend your whole life and you don't help anybody? Not much good. Okay. Hold on to that thought. Let's talk about this fellow here. This is a picture. This is a picture of Sparky. This is a picture of Sparky. This is a picture of Sparky when he was about 72 years old.